Good morning. You're listening to FloorDaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. This morning, my guest is James Hogg and Don Raymond. James, you're the CEO of Uniboard, and Don, you're VP of Sales and Marketing. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to talk to you. I wanted to interview you because last week you announced the news that Pfleiderer had sold Uniboard Canada to a company called Kaycan. We'll get to that in a minute. What I'd like for you to do is update us. Obviously, this is very impactful in the flooring industry, which is where my listeners are focused because of Uniboard's core board business and their laminate business. So if you would, just kind of give us a quick update. Take us maybe from 2005 up to today and the relationship with Pfleiderer.
Yeah, if you may, I will just start a little bit earlier just to kind of set this into scene. Obviously, Uniboard has been around since the 1980s, as you rightly said. Mm-hmm. Our main activity is board production, particle board, and MDF. We obviously provide a wide range of products in that, including value-added products such as thermofused melamine. And in the mid-1990s, as a value-added activity, Uniboard got into laminate flooring and expanded that big time through the construction of a new plant in Canada outside of Montreal in 2001. Mm-hmm. And as you rightly said, in 2005, in a deal which included Uniboard but also some German assets, Pfleiderer acquired Uniboard from a German family called Kunz and went on then obviously in the time frame of 2007 to also acquire a sister company Pergo in the U.S. Later, the flooring businesses were all combined under Pergo. That was in the kind of 2008 to 2011 time frame, to be split again at the end of 2011 for the Uniboard flooring business to come back under Uniboard and the Pergo U.S. flooring business to continue as Pergo. So what was sold to Kaycan essentially, or what is being sold to Kaycan, is now the whole Uniboard part with the mills in Canada, including the laminate flooring business with the facility outside of Montreal. That's a little bit the scope of the deal and the sale and the history of 2005 to today.
So you ran through that in a hurry and it was all very good. Let me just ask you, was Pergo related to Uniboard prior to the Pfleiderer acquisition?
Well, we had a business relationship where at a time Uniboard was the largest core board and the largest semi-finished goods provider to Pergo, but that was a business relationship as could be had between any other two companies.
All right, so part of the thinking, I guess, that Pfleiderer in assembling this was if they bought the core board business and also bought the Pergo name, then they would have a competitive market advantage. Is that right?
That was certainly part of the consideration, an important part of the consideration, yes.
Yeah, and while my audience is focused in flooring, just a brief explanation, you guys are much wider focused. When you start talking about where you use core board and where you use MDF, you service a lot of different end-use markets, don't you?
That is correct. I mean, we go all the way in MDF specifically from moldings to joinery applications to furniture, but certainly the laminate flooring part, and not only our own mill, but also other flooring application engineered floors with a HDF core from other manufacturers. That's an important part of our business, yes.
If you had to just put a percentage on it, what percentage of your overall business do you think is directed to the flooring market?
Our MDF business, it's between 30 and 40% of our overall business. That falls obviously quite a bit. So including our own flooring sales, that's maybe 20% of our total sales is altogether with flooring in the bigger family of things.
Okay, and these businesses have been actually very successful. So explain to us why Pfleiderer has gotten to this situation of insolvency.
Well, it's complicated and easy story at the same time. I think there is no one real answer, but the biggest part is certainly that Pfleiderer was in a growth mode 2005, 2007. There was also some deals which we didn't talk about, which did not touch flooring, but was more oriented towards Eastern Europe and growth markets there. All that obviously hit in 2008, a global imbalance of the financial markets, which was really global. Pfleiderer's business was certainly built on a diversification strategy where the three global regions, Eastern Europe, Western Europe, and North America, had never seen a global meltdown of this kind. So obviously with all the acquisitions came a lot of leverage, and post-crisis it became difficult with the new business realities and a slower market and kind of more competitive pressures than before to really service this debt. So in several iterations of refinancing, it came to this situation where Pfleiderer had agreed by the majority of the shareholders and the debt holders a certain consensual restructuring deal, which was unsettled by a really small minority of bondholders in Germany, which led to the filing of insolvency of the mother company. It never touched the operating companies, so all the operating companies have been operating as solvent and operating companies on a day-to-day basis, but that led to the insolvency of Pfleiderer AG in Germany.
I see. So I guess, if you will, tell us a little bit about Kaycan, because they actually are the benefactor of Pfleiderers' insolvency.
Yeah, if you want to say that so, certainly the timing seems to be more on their side as we see that the market is positively developing now. So Kaycan is a North American producer with 11 plants across North America in the exterior decoration products, construction-related. Quite some overlap, especially with the flooring in terms of distribution channels, go-to-market. As far as the big box stores is concerned, there's some overlap there. They have a pretty long history in this, 38 years. They've grown with some acquisitions, but a lot of organic growth. It's a family-owned company, and we've had some business dealings with them in another product line, and we know each other since a number of years, and we think there is a good potential here for these two companies to develop together, and that's the direction that is going to be taken.
Mm-hmm. And both of you gentlemen were with the original family, I guess, and then you've ridden through this with Pfleiderer, and then you continue to stay on now with Kaycan. Is that right?
For Don, that is right. For me, not. I came with the deal originally with Pfleiderer, but I'm staying on now, so that's good.
I see. And what effect does this, since a majority of my audience is in the U.S., and this is mostly a Canadian deal, talk about how this affects the Pergo in the United States, if at all.
Directly, it does not impact Pergo in the United States at all. Obviously, there is some things which are still related to the separation of the companies, but it's largely done from a management standpoint. It's fully done from a business sales standpoint. It's fully done. So there is only a minor link which has been existing throughout this year in terms of some product shipments and some other things still being separated, but by and large the separation is to be had, and we are kind of competitors in the marketplace. So you can buy Uniboard flooring, you can buy Pergo flooring. That's kind of the setup that was chosen in 2011 as kind of this sales process became a reality and the separation of the company. This was decided.
And so is Pergo US a customer for the core board?
Not currently. They buy some semi-finished goods from us, not core board, because of the transport distance, because our mill for MDF is based in Quebec, so we service primarily the northeast of the U.S. and the upper Midwest as well as Canada, but we don't go as far south as the Carolinas.
Okay, this is great. I certainly couldn't explain this as well as you guys did, so thanks for doing that. One last question, if you would. Talk about the laminate flooring market in Canada. Do you still think there's plenty of growth opportunity for that?
The laminate flooring market is slowed down from its heyday, but there definitely still is growth. You see the big box stores like, the Home Depot and Rona,
right.
And you also see it at the club stores. The Costco is probably the best example in Canada. Mm-hmm. So I still see growth potential in Canada, and definitely we have our sights set also on the U.S. market, where there's still some growth potential in those markets.
Yeah, we've seen a little bit of change in the U.S. in laminate. It's certainly as strong in the home centers. We've seen investments with several on the supply side with Chronotex and with Clarion, and then just recently some changes in leadership in both of those companies. So there's a lot of change in the laminate market, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a lot of change in terms of where it started off back probably in the mid-'90s, and what you see today versus the mid-'90s in terms of textures and designs and realism, and different channels getting into this product. I still believe that there's growth, and you're not just seeing designs, but new colors, but you're seeing new textures and finishes, and probably you'll probably see some changes in the board composition too, to to go into different market segments or different areas. We've been putting a lot of efforts in redeveloping our core line, our Uniboard line, and we've started to see some successes in the Canadian market, and hopefully soon we'll see some successes in the U.S. market. All the work that we put into this.
Yeah. One last question: the economy in Canada is getting warmer faster than the one in the U.S., isn't it?
I think the Canadian economy has been more stable than the U.S., where the U.S. has really went down in 2008, 2009. And we are seeing some pickup. We saw a little bit of pickup in 2010, a little bit more in 2011. Yeah. 2012 seems to be a bit better again, and we're looking for 2013 to be better. But Canada, I think, has been more stable in terms of the economic climate.
Okay, guys, I really appreciate you spending time with us and our listeners. Again, we've been talking to James Hogg, who's CEO, and with Don Raymond, who's Vice President of Sales and Marketing with Uniboard Canada. And you've been listening to Kemp Harr and FloorDaily.net.